ever watched King Richard? Now, if you haven't, spoiler alert. So King Richard was, his name is not King Richard, his name is Richard Williams, and he is the father of Venus and Serena Williams. Now, him and his wife worked so hard to like push their daughters to become world tennis champions that they are today. Now, at the time, as you know, as he was raising them, a lot of the things he was doing, people just didn't understand. Now, one of the things that he used to do, he would have the girl practicing tennis, training in the rain at night. But it got so bad that one of the neighbors even called the police, well, not the police, the social services, and they came over to the family's house and was like, what is going on? Now, his behavior, his antics to the world seemed strange, but he had a plan. Now, literally had a plan. Now, there were things that he would do. He would take his daughters out of training or a certain part of like the tennis world, and he said, I'm going to train you personally, and then you're going to go straight to pro, which was not normal. So a lot of the experts were like, Richard, come on, that's not how you do it. But he was like, no, no, no. And so to the experts, to the people around him, he just seemed like a very hard man, and he just seemed very much too involved. But what they didn't know was that before these girls were born, he had written a 75-page manifesto declaring and claiming that his daughters will become world tennis champions. Now, what's crazy about this is nearly everything he wrote has come true, which makes me think, like, because they're still got so much to do, they haven't even completed the things that he has written down, it just blows my mind. Now, some of us, talk about myself, we never had parents who sat down or thought about our lives thus far or who we were going to be. They never had a plan for us. We just kind of had to figure things out for ourselves, right? But I want to tell you that actually you do have a parent who has a plan for you. And that parent is your Heavenly Father. Now, I know that sounds a bit like cliche, like, girl, what? But I kid you not. Now, the other day I was speaking with my sister, and funny enough, as I was researching something, I was looking through Bible scriptures, and I came across this verse. And I've read this verse, I've heard this verse has been spoken over me many times. And it was only until that moment when I was reading it, it made sense. So the verse is Jeremiah 29. This is the New International Version. You use whatever version you feel comfortable. I'm reading this one because I find that it's just easier to say. So the verse is, for I know the plans I have for you, declared the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. Now, I don't know about you, but that brought so much joy to my soul. It felt like two sparks, or two like wires. When it sparked, it just made sense in my spirit. I felt it for the first time. I'm telling you guys, I've heard this verse so many times all over my life, and in that moment, it just sparked in me. And what the spark was, that it finally dawned on me that God had planned out my life. My whole life has already been planned. Why do I worry? Why have I been worrying up and all this time I've been worried? I'm not gonna lie, I still have my moments of worrying. The great thing about God is that He will even share and show you part of the plan. He will bring you in. I want you to read the story of Abraham in Genesis, and I forgot where right now because I didn't write it down. But when the angel of the Lord comes down, and he was talking to other two angels, and he said to them, should I share with Abraham my plans? And you know what he did? And so if you ever feel like, God, I don't know what, He speak to him, and He will show you where to go, and even will show you things into your future, show you where you could be, and give you inspiration of who you're going to be. I'm telling you, many times I've had dreams of me doing things, and I'm like, wow. And so when I go out in my day-to-day, some people may think, God, you're always doing something, what's going on? But I am moving on the vision and in faith of what God has shown me. Now, I want to say this as well, faith without works is dead. There's no point of having like a vision from God, and then thinking, well, he's got the plan, I'm just going to sit here. I'm afraid you've got to get up and move a bit. But when you get up and move, don't move and work in the sense of, oh, I've got to make it happen. Move in the sense of, it's already ordained, it's already happened, it's fine, it's going to happen. The door is going to be open. I remembered a dream I had, and in this dream, I was in my living room and there was 3 people in there. There was someone at the end of the table, there was one who was doing all the talking, and there was another person who was just kind of moving up and down, walking, you know. They were the one picking up things and handing it over. And the other one who sat at the table was just very still, but you felt the presence weren't threatening, it was there, okay? They were there. And I remember the person who was moving handed me a book as the person who was talking. So I was looking through this book, and it was a regular book. It was like a regular reading book, you know those old paperback books. And I'm reading, and I come across 2 chapters in this book. And it was my chapter and another person's chapter I knew. And I wanted to read their chapter so bad, but I wanted to read my chapter. So I started reading my chapter, and I don't remember what I read, but I remember thinking, oh no, is this it? No, and I remember feeling so dejected and sad. And the person who was talking a lot said, but you haven't even read the end. And so I had to go to the back of the book, and then all of a sudden it was like I stepped into the pages and I could see my life. Everything was going past me, all these things I would achieve. And I'm watching these things like, wow. And I remember there was one thing I would see, like a picture. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I did that? I didn't even think I would do that. Now, at the time, I woke up from the dream thinking, wow, that's crazy. And as I remembered this verse, I am reminded of the fact that, oh my goodness, my life has already been planned out. At that moment, I stepped into the words, into the plan that I haven't even lived yet. And I didn't even realize it until now that I've actually stepped into, I got to see into a part of my life that I haven't even lived yet, which means that there's more to come. I want to stress right now, if you're feeling like life is just dull, life is depressing, and you're thinking, why am I here? What's going on? Why am I living the same day? When is life going to start? But that's how I felt, and sometimes I do feel like, is this how it's gonna be? But I want to remind you that your life, there is a plan for your life. I want to remind you that there is the verse, Jeremiah 1 says, Jeremiah 1:5 says, before I placed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. And I don't know about you, but that just moved me. Before we were even a thought to our parents, before we were even conceived, before our mothers were pregnant with us, God knew us. He thought about us. He thought, yeah, I'm going to make a you. I'm going to make a Lisa. I'm going to make a Carly. I'm going to make a Rebecca. I'm going to make a Tracy. I'm going to make a Stacy. I'm just writing my names down. I'm going to make a Maureen. And this is how their life's going to be. And this is what I'm going to do them. This is what I want for their life. This is how they're going to show my glory through their lives. And I'm going to put them there. I'm going to do this for them. And it just makes you realize that he has planned more than we can even imagine. So as I want you to remind you, like, I would advise you to watch King Richard. It's a fantastic story. But some of us, if you don't have a father, know that your Heavenly Father has a plan for your life. And the plans for your life he has for you is going to change the world. I truly believe that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment and subscribe. And I see you in the next one. Bye-bye.